back for another episode of Say What You Feel. I'm Ty, the host. My co-host is.
Sean P.
We have a special guest. I will let him introduce himself and tell him a little bit about himself.
Russell Neverdon, born and raised here in Baltimore, entrepreneur, and just just all around person who is all about progression and upliftment of our folk.
So, Russell, what is what is your expertise? And, what do you do?
I practiced law for 25 years, so I've dealt with a lot of family and domestic cases. Right now, I have my own consulting company, and I'm a certified personal fitness trainer and certified life coach. So, between my consulting from a business perspective, I also deal with folk when it comes to trying to organize their lives in such a way that they can move in a progressive way and start moving some of the impediments and accept life on life terms and be able to do the things that they want to do and stop making excuses and being the problem getting out of their own way.
So if you need a consulting, a life coach, or what else you said?
Consulting, life coaching, personal fitness trainer.
Especially
for the 50 and over crew.
Right.
This is the man for you.
Russell Neverdon.
So Russell, you told us a little bit about you. So let's go into a few questions. Ben, you said you was a life coach. How do you forgive and move on? In, I guess in a relationship without having bad feelings.
One of the things that I've found is when it comes, first of all, let's start with forgiveness is crucial. And I know it's an old cliche where they say forgiveness is not about the other person, but it's about yourself. But I really believe in my heart of hearts that's a truism, because to harbor ill feelings makes you a prisoner within your own spirit. And to forgive somebody really is to release yourself. So when I work with people who talk about I'm holding on to this thing, the first thing I do is say self accountability. If you're really honest with yourself, if any of us are really honest with ourselves, we can go back and look at little snapshots in life and in our experiences with whoever it is that we having some difficulties, and we saw some screwed up stuff with them. You know what I'm saying? And because I believe from a spiritual standpoint that God has placed in us an innate responsibility that we want to take care of our fellow man. We want to look for the best in them. There's some stuff that we overlook.
Right.
And so part of that has to be to say, I saw it coming and I failed to manage my expectations, right? Which means that one, I violated my commitment to myself of being one, under promising and over delivering, accepting people where they are and accepting people when they tell me who they are, and understanding I can't force somebody to change to be who I need them to be. And from once you do that, then it becomes easier to say, I can forgive you. Now, forgiveness does not mean forgetting, right? Because you can forgive to free yourself, but don't forget so that you keep yourself from going back to the same stuff.
Right. Message. Right. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting. And we're going to go back to what Russell said about forgiving. I'm a firm believer. I'm not going to say who, but a family member. I've been through a lot of my life, so it took a lot of me to forgive. So in forgiveness, it comes from your heart. So if you don't forgive in your heart, it's not forgiveness. It's going to be that burden you're going to always keep carrying on you if you don't release it, because it's like some type of anger over you. If you don't release it within yourself, it's stress. You're never gonna get rid of it. I don't know if y'all fellas got anything to say about it, but I agree.
Well, I was like that. I was a person who I kept a cold heart. Like if something happened or somebody did something to me, I was somebody that had a mindset of I liked them to keep that same energy whenever they was around me. So I was okay. I was comfortable with the malice,
right.
Keeping the malice. It made me comfortable because at least I knew where you stood,
right,
and we knew where each other stood at. So then I would know like I can't play around that way or that area or how that works, because I already know what's up from that. But then as you get older, you start having a family, you start having kids. Of course your thinking gotta be different. And also I agree with what you were saying as far as you can't tell somebody, especially a grown person, how they're supposed to feel.
Right.
If a person has a feeling and they feel this certain way, even if, because some things it takes people time to get over. It's not that it's, it's not that they won't forgive you. It's not that they just not ready yet.
Right.
It's no different than if somebody is in mourning. If somebody has a relative or a family member that passed away, I can't just tell them 2 weeks later, all right, they laid out, just get over it. We buried them already. I mean, they might have a mourning period that could be for years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we can't really, you can't really say. So it's kind of like a thin line with it. Only thing you can do is, what I learned is, with people, I treat them in a way where I don't offer, especially if it's something that I know that's daring to them, or I can see how their energy move whenever that subject comes up. So what I would do is, I reach them in a way where I would say, I would wait until they actually offer me into the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
By way of, if you're venting to me and you're just venting and I'm here to listen, I can do that.
Mm-hmm.
But if you somebody who's asking me once you ask me the question, then you open up my ear for interpretation.
Right.
But if it was just something where, like I said, if you're just venting or you're just, saying how you believe, I can be just that ear to listen out, and I'll sit back because you just needed me there for that particular purpose, not
Right.
for a reason to just comment.
Right.
So it just all depends. You got to be careful with people who keep asking a lot of whys to somebody's questions.
Right.
So if somebody has, because that's your personal feeling,
Mhm.
so I can't ask you why you feel this way. I mean, that's your personal business, or why you feel this way. Especially no grown adult.
Right.
You can do kids and adolescents because they still growing. But once they, become a full grown adult, you can't really get into the why and the we. That's how things get. It turns. It gets ugly. It gets
Yeah.
different.
Anything, Sean?
Now, I mean, Kev, like kind of took it all the way, to the what I was saying as far as like
To the finish line.
to the finish line, and yeah, because it's like you said, it's in your heart and it's in your mind, how you feel, and then it also depends on the situation and experience, because sometimes if you never experienced the situation of being hurt, you don't know how to get over it.
Yeah.
But if you're a person, not to say it, you're a damn fool because you keep letting it happen, but you learn from it. So when the situation comes apart, it comes together, comes to you again, you know how to handle it.
Right,
You don't be like so mentally messed up that just to say like first heartbreak. In your mind, you like I'm never messing with nobody else.
Mhm.
I ain't doing that no more. I ain't messing, but in time you learn from it. But if a person that's been through heartbreak on both sides and broke hearts and what I'm saying, their heart broke, you know how to, I need to just sit back and regroup.
Mhm.
So yeah.
So how do you know when to throw in the towel?
Well, he just hit a most poignant point when he said, it depends on the situation. And so what I would piggyback on and say, everything can be forgiven, but there is no set time for what it takes to forgive. Because for me, betrayal or disloyalty is a deal breaker for me. Now, if I ever utter the words to anybody, I don't care if it's my family member, if it's a romantic situation, if it's a friendship, if I say I love you, that's for life, because I take love very seriously. The difference is, when I forgive, I'm not going to hurt you. Don't mean I'm going to help you, but I'm not going to hurt you.
Right.
But if I don't rock with you that way, that dark side may come out.
Right.
And that's the part that I will always want to keep repressed, because I don't want to do anything or put anything in my life that blocks, one, my blessings from above, and more importantly, I don't want to put myself in a position where I give that much control of my life to another person.
Right.
Because hate and unforgiveness is consuming.
Right.
It
You
is.
find yourself like,
It
I
is.
wonder what they're doing right now.
And take your
I hope this is going on with them.
Right.
And every time you speak, because the tongue is power,
Sure.
and every time you put something out into the universe, which you don't realize, the universe has a rule.
Right.
What you put out into the universe comes back to you.
Right.
So I'm not going to spend time or waste time putting out hate and unnecessary wasted energy that I can never get back. For me, at 56, right now, and I'm taking snapshots of everything that God blesses me with. if it's a friendship, it's a friendly encounter, if it's a positive phone call, if it's celebrating somebody that's doing something and elevating themselves in life. I want to hold on to that so that when I take my final transition from this realm to the next, I can reflect and say, God, it is well. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so that's very important for me at this stage of my life. And that also, for us as men, that's the transition from being a male to becoming a man. It's our mindset.
Right.
We're genetically males, but our mentality is what distinguishes us to become men. And we think differently.
Right.
We value things differently. Friendships, real friendships, have real value.
Right. Integrity.
Integrity. We don't just throw out the word love just for a haphazard reason.
Right.
You know, we mean that because and we know that God has made us in such a way that we are capable of loving more than one person. Right? So we know that love has, and I just believe that love and positivity just really just controls everything. But to the original question, when you confront that, you really got to do some self-reflection, because truth be told, if we're really honest with ourselves, we contribute to some other, either through omission or through our actions, but we contribute to what it is that's there. And so we got to be honest with ourselves, hold ourselves accountable, forgive ourselves first for any role that we played in it, but more importantly, extend to that person the same thing that you would want for yourselves. If I expect you to forgive me, if I expect God to forgive me, who am I not to forgive another person? So we can forgive everything, but there's no set times to how long it's going to take. It may take a lifetime. It may take your dying bed before you take your last breath and say, you know what, I forgive you.
Right.
But I forgive you.
Right.
Yeah, that's 1-800 message.
Definitely.
Also, I mean, is it cool? I mean, from your perspective, is it cool to have friends of opposite sex? I mean,
Absolutely. We need that balance. Because here's the thing. We have, and the brother said, energy, right? The energy that we produce as men is different than the energy that women produce.
Right.
Men, from the beginning of time, when we look at least what we've been taught, is we've been hunters and gatherers, right? So we're providers, we're protectors, we're territorial. We look at things from that perspective. Women are nurturers. And if you look at every successful king, he's always had a queen.
Right.
And when we ever hear the term of wise counsel, that was his wise counsel, his queen, right? So how do we get to her becoming your queen? Most relationships back then were orchestrated and put together for the sake of expanding the kingdom,
Right.
or cutting out a feud or whatever. But as we began to evolve and develop, right now, I have female friends that their opinion has great value to me, because I'm not going to always catch the nuances of a woman, right? I don't ever want to be a woman, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But I want to better understand them, because it improves my level of communication, and it improves my ability to better be empathetic and understand, and it forces and compels me to be more open-minded, to be able to look into their mind and try to step into
Right.
where they are before I say certain things, before I act in a certain way.
Right.
Because I think when you really take the step, and that's what I call being that grown man mindset. When I step into the role of saying, let me be empathetic and more understanding and accepting of what it is that she may be going through or perceiving, then it helps me in your relationship. I don't care relationally, whether it's your sister, whether it's your mother, having a female friend is a phenomenal, and it's a benefit, and it's a blessing, because it does help you keep that balance. Because we're so used to our day-to-day grind, particularly as black men, we got to fight who we are as a man, who we are as a black man. We got to deal with the propagandized negative image that the media tries to portray about us.
Right.
And unfortunately, because our sisters have become to some degree indoctrinated to this European mindset, they're putting our vulnerabilities out there.
you know what?
They're breaking the home. They're breaking that sanctity between a man and a woman, or rather a black man and a black woman. And so when you go out there and you gossip to your girlfriend and say, girl, let me tell you what he did, X, Y, Z.
Right.
Never.
Spilling
Because
the
once you do that, you're now exposing him and his business out there into the world, when you're supposed to be his solace, his source, his peace, his protector. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when you do that kind of a thing, it disrupts this whole thing. And that's all the enemy wants for us, to have more disconnect and distance between us where we're pitted against each other instead of uplifting and embracing and appreciating one another.
You know what? I listened to what you just said. One thing I caught, you said sometimes you say something to somebody, a female friend, and a lot of females don't understand. You might ask them something, and they might say, "Well, go ask your lady," or "Go that," but it's not. That's not even it. It's that you value their opinion.
Absolutely.
You know, you really care about how they feel about it, and you just want to see, you know, their input helps. But it's not all about, you know, some people just think it, you know, you can't, if you my friend, I should better ask you certain things.
Exactly.
You know, so, but if I value your opinion, that should be, you should take that, you know.
And a true
you
female
know,
friend is going to, as a brother, I'm gonna keep it real. A true female friend is gonna give it to you raw, whether you want to hear it or not.
That's true.
Say what you feel.
She's going to crack your knees,
Mhm.
drop you down, but in a loving and nurturing way, but hold you accountable. And so you need that, because if you can't relate to another woman as a friend, which should be the foundation of any relationship, be it romantic or otherwise, if you can't relate to a woman as a friend, how are you going to grow anything else? Because guess what? When the sex is gone, when the money done run out, and all that shit is gone, what are you going to do as far as how are you going to be able to communicate?
Right.
That friendship is what does it. That unspoken bond and connection that says that we can be vulnerable with one another, we can talk to one another, you can give me insight, maybe it's things that I'm not seeing. Because if, like say, if you're in a relationship but you're talking to your female friend, your lady, the emotional side of it is different than your female friend.
Right.
Because she's looking at it from a global perspective. She knows you better than you might want to admit she knows,
Right.
but she's going to tell you, you want some bullshit. You might need to check yourself based on this. And I'm telling you from a woman's point of view how it is. It might be tough to swallow, but she's giving you the real.
Right.
Or she's going to say, look, she might got you, you know, floating, thinking, you know, that upside down twirl swirl got you tripping.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you as a woman, she
Right.
gaming you.
Right.
You might not want to hear it, but she's going to give it to you raw.
Right.
So having that female friend that's truly a friend is invaluable. I think every man should be able to have at least one female friend that he can go to in confidence. I don't care if it's your sister, your auntie, or whomever, but there should be somebody that you should be able to go to and bounce off ideas to keep you checked, so that you understand that it's more than just me, it's more than just my bravado, it's more than just this machismo as a man, but that there's another side that I need to be able to appreciate and see.
So basically, with what you were saying, that one female friend that you would have that connection with, do you believe that what you're saying is they supposed to have boundaries? So it has to be still a boundary in place before you can even have that kind of contact with
Right.
that person.
Because here's a prime example. If you got a true female friend, if you're in a relationship, you will never cross that line. It's never going to ever happen. Ever. Because one, she loves you and sees you in a certain way that it will never cross. Because women, for the most part, whether we want to be honest or not, women dictate the ebbs and flows of relationships, right? Because they're going to be more open, more vulnerable, and they're going to be more emotional when it comes to talking about feelings and certain things. We, as men, we operate with just what's in front of me, what I see, and we
Right.
operate from that space. Women are forethinkers. They 10 and 5 steps down. Here's a prime example. You go to the club. You see a bunch of ladies sitting at the bar. You and your homeboy go in, right? Y'all scoping it out. You like, yo, you know, we talk about, hey, right? Let's send them over some drinks. From the time we walked in that door, they done already peeped us out.
Mhm.
They done already divided up among each other
Yeah.
who's going to holler at who,
Right.
who's going to make it available. So by the time we come over, you'll see who scatters and moves away,
Right.
who's left.
Who's giving the most conversation?
Exactly. They have already, and they have a code and a creed among themselves that already says that. Now, some may cross that code and that creed,
Right.
but at the end of the day, they have already sized you up. Women are forward thinkers. Don't ever get it twisted. That's why I always tell my sons, I say, let me tell you something, bro. Don't ever think you're doing anything sneaky, sleeky, or whatever
Right.
Or slick.
Right.
that they have not already figured out.
Right.
A lot of times it's just tolerance and acceptance. But when they get fed up, and it's ding ding done.
And
But also don't think that
that's-
their
I
needs are
agree
not the
with that.
same as yours.
I agree with that.
Because women are going to look at it from the perspective of, I'm going to look at 6 years, 5 months, 14 days, and 2 hours. That one is going to be the one that's going to get your ass back. And we sitting up there, I got it. Like, no, you don't,
Right.
bruh.
Right.
No, you
Right.
don't.
Right.
They got it, right?
Yeah.
We operate, and how we connect is different. Because for a man, it's purely the physical, the animalistic side that we respond and we do things like that. We
Right.
don't think in those terms long
Right.
term. And in our mind, it's like, ain't no big deal. That don't mean nothing to me. I'm coming home. Nah, bro, don't think like that. You got to start respecting and understanding and appreciating the value of where a woman is, how she feels, and what she thinks. And so when I say that a friend is going to set those boundaries, she's going to set them boundaries. You can best believe.
Right.
If you want to cut out the cheating, have black women unify and say, if you ain't dealt with that, finish that off and get yourself together before you even think about coming over here. And they did that consistently. All that cheating and relationships not working out, that's out the door. Because what it does is it forces a man to, one, deal with self-accountability, and more importantly, to face the issues that's there and effectively communicate. Listen to what she's saying. Don't run your mouth. Don't start defending, whatever. Take what she has to say, but listen to what she has to say. If she asks you for your opinion, then you speak that. But just listen. You talked about that earlier about there's a difference between listening and giving advice.
Right.
Some things don't require your
Right,
unsolicited
response.
advice.
Right.
It's just for you to just listen. So if we really start paying more attention to our female friends when they give us little clues like this is how you can be happy.
Right.
But if we don't take that information and process it and apply it in our own circumstance and situation,
Right.
we doomed.
That's why we got 2 ears and 1 mouth.